Good morning. It's Wednesday. Welcome to Morning Conversation, where I converse with myself and I record it so you can listen. These are my own thoughts to myself. Sometimes I think inside quietly, sometimes I think outside not so quietly. My hope is that by recording these, you, whoever's listening, not you personally, but you are able to learn something. It gets you to think, gets you to feel, and maybe you feel something and then that causes you to think, or maybe a thought enters and then you feel, and you take some kind of positive action that ends up helping your dog enjoy life more, and subsequently you enjoy life more. And we can substitute the word enjoy with fun. This is Tonks. He's eating the grass this morning. The sprinklers are not on, unfortunately. I promised him sprinklers this morning, so I've failed my dog. So anyway, I kind of just ramble. If you've been listening to these, I have a whole playlist of them. I kind of just ramble, and whatever comes to my mind, I talk on that and go off on tangents and so on and so forth. God dang, we got some bugs out here today. Jeez. Tonkies, let's go. Come on, bud. Yeah, I don't know what to talk about this morning. One thing I was thinking about last night to talk on is interacting with your dog when you're under the influence of drugs or alcohol. Not a good idea. Put the dog away. Whether it's positive interaction, you just want to love on him, or you have a multiple dog household especially, if you're under the influence, that is very, very weird energy for a dog. Dog doesn't understand that altered state of mind, and your diminished capacity. Your reaction time is slower. Your judgment is impaired, and if you are under the influence of drugs or alcohol, I don't suggest interacting with your dogs and trying to do a whole lot with them, especially if you have a reactive dog, especially if you have a multiple dog household where there has been conflict in the house. I have seen time and time again with people where they came home, they had a bunch of drinks, they were out partying, and they came home and dogs got in a fight, or even the next day. So there's just some food for thought. You're in an altered emotional state, you're in an altered mental state. Just your whole psychology is altered if you're under the influence, and your dog feels that, and it's very destabilizing to a dog. So especially a multiple dog household, especially reactive dogs, insecure dogs, especially households where there's already been some conflict between the dogs. Let's go, Tonks. Come on, bud. Let's go to greener pastures, bud. So I kind of want to talk on that. What else? It occurred to me, so if you're struggling with your dog, they are not doing something, okay? A simple solution is put a leash on them, okay? And it's not just put a leash on and boom, magic. You've got to learn how to communicate and use that leash to follow through. Let's go. But if you don't have a leash on your dog and you want them to come to you, you want them to sit and wait at the door, Tonkies, let's go. Come on, bud. You want them to do something and you're trying to teach them, and you don't have that leash on, how are you going to follow through? At that point, you have to go to them, which is you encroaching on their space, pursuing them. Sometimes they get to play the game where they might get to run away, and they learn they can do that. Let's go, Tonkies, let's go. What that's called is negative training. Okay, so if you call your dog to you and then you go to them and they take off running, or they freeze and they take off running and juke you and jive you and avoid and evade you, you are negatively training them. The solution is call them to you, sit down, wait till they come to you, go to a door, go to the kennel, go to the room, get them to follow you, get a leash, hook them up on the leash. They have just communicated to you they are not ready to be off a leash, whether it's in the home, whether it's outside of the home. They're not ready to be off a leash if when you call them, they take off running the other way. If you're teaching your dog place, do it with a leash first. Keep the leash on until they're staying on place, and you're able to tell them place, and they go over to place and lay down. It's not a big deal. It's a simple thing, but we got to learn how to use the leash. I didn't start this dog out teaching him stuff off leash. I didn't start him out with the e-collar. By the way, he's at a 5. I didn't start him on an e-collar. I started him with a leash. And we start there. We learn, and I teach with the leash first. That yes, when I call you, I want you to come to me. If I ask you to sit, yes, that's what I'm going to follow through with. Right? A leash is an easy way to set boundaries. It's a tool to communicate. If you don't know how to use the leash to communicate, my inbox is open. There's lots of tutorials out there. There's hundreds of videos, thousands of videos right here on the good old YouTube that probably tells you how to communicate with a leash, pressure and release. Okay. Let's go, bud. Come on. Let's go. Tonkies, let's go. Come on. Good boy. Good boy. Let's go. So, put a leash on your dog. Stop being frustrated that they're not listening, and understand they're confused and you're giving them too many options. Let's go. When you give your dog too many options and they don't listen, you are negatively training them. Okay? If that concept's not quite registering in your brain, I'm sorry. I don't really know what to tell you. Let's go. Negative training is where you want them to do one thing, and they have the opportunity to do something different. And they are given that opportunity by you. Good boy, come here. Good boy, yeah. They're given that opportunity by you. Oh, we got all sorts of ants. Huh? Let's get out of here, bud. Let's get out of the ants. Come on, Tonkies, let's go. Golly, tons of ants over there. So that's negative training. Another example of negative training is you don't like that your dog jumps on people when they come over to your house, but every time people walk in that door, your dog is free to run to them and jump on them. Come here, bud. Hold on. Let's get these ants off you. Okay? That's negative training. You're allowing them the freedom to do something you don't want them to do. And you're letting them practice it and rehearse it over and over and over. And then what adds more negativity to that equation is you get frustrated by it. You get angry. You get embarrassed. But the answer simply is, don't allow them to do those things. Limit their choices. Negative training is obviously, by definition, counterproductive to positive training, to the training that you want, to what you want your dog to learn. Let's go. Come on, bud. Come on. He's just eating a ton of grass this morning. He's going to throw up. So that's negative training. Put a leash on your dog. It's okay to have a leash on your dog in the house at any age to teach them. You can start with a 6-foot leash, then you go to a 10-foot leash, and then you go a 15-foot leash. But practice in the house. If they're not listening to you in the house how you want them to, they're not going to listen to you on a walk. They're not going to listen to you at the park. Okay? So put a leash on your dog in the house. Simple. Teach them to follow you around the house. If they already follow you because they're a Velcro dog and they're insecure, anxious, reactive, any of those things, now put a leash on them so you can tether them away from you. If you go to the bathroom and your dog follows you all the time, tether them on place. Just tether them to something heavy and walk away and go to the bathroom in peace so they can start to learn they don't get to follow you. Let's go. Come on, bud. Good boy. That's a good boy. Come on, bud. Okay? Tether them so they don't get to follow you. You're negatively training them every time they follow you to the bathroom, every time you get up and they follow you. That's negative training. That's separation anxiety. And you're allowing it to be fully expressed and satisfied. And so it's going to linger. It's going to continue. What else? What else this morning? I'm trying to keep these videos 20 minutes or less. I don't know. You guys, what I'm doing with Tonks here, we're just strolling and wandering around the park. I'm enjoying myself, watching him. We're doing a little bit of recall here and there. He gets to explore and eat grass, and he enjoys that. Everybody wins. Much better than a walk. Much better than a walk on a 6-foot leash on the sidewalk around your neighborhood. You tugging at them, telling them no, let's go, telling them no, don't stop and eat the grass, them pulling ahead of you because they're seeking things, they're hunting things, and they don't see you as a valuable or successful component to what they're doing. Let's go. So, come on, bud. What else? That's about it this morning. I don't know. Good job, bud. Good boy. Yeah, good boy. Yeah, good boy. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Good job, bud. Good boy. Good boy. I got that on a little loose, huh, bud? I got that on a little loose. Let's adjust that. See if I can do this one-handed. With your e-collar strap, what I tell people is if it's too tight, it's just right. You don't want this thing to be moving around. You don't want this thing to be able to spin and drop down underneath their chin. It's not the appropriate way it's designed to be fit. It says so right there in the manual. Once again, I don't believe these should be sold to the general public, if for no other reason than most people don't even read the damn manual. So, secondary reason, most people, even if they read the manual, and I tell them 100 times, they still make the choice, the conscious choice, to put the thing on too loose. So it's a tool. Why should a general public be allowed to purchase a tool when, due to their own emotional reasons, are not going to use it appropriately? They're not even going to learn about it. Shouldn't be able to buy it. General public should not be able to purchase electronic collars. I really don't think the general public should be allowed to purchase prong collars. Because when the general public purchases a prong collar, it's generally way too big in both width or size and diameter, and it fits the dog down around their shoulders at the base of their neck, which is not where it's not the appropriate positioning or fit of that tool. So, and it actually can cause more damage because now you have shear or lateral force, pressure on the dog's trachea. All for the sake of, we just didn't want it to be too tight. I feel bad it was tight. I feel bad it was tight. Jesus. You feel bad. Let's go. Your dog doesn't feel bad. Let's go. Tonks. Good boy. Come on. You feel bad. Everything, every struggle that you have with your dog, everything that's, quote, wrong with your dog and your relationship can be tied back to you feeling bad in some form or fashion. Now, bad in itself is not a feeling. There's lots of subcategories of bad. There's specificities: frustrated, angry, sad, guilty, embarrassed, confused, abandoned. There's lots of different forms of bad, because bad in itself is not a feeling at all. It's a judgment, right? It's a judgment. Bad and good is a moral judgment. So, yeah, there's that. But yeah, if you use a tool, learn how to, if you're currently using a prong collar, for example, take the time to go on the internet and say, how should a prong collar be properly fit and used? Just take 5 minutes and do that. Please. You're going to learn a lot, because most likely you have 2 or 3 links more than you need in that prong collar, meaning it's too loose, and you probably chose one that, well, I have a big dog and he's strong, so you got a 2.5 or 3 inch one that you don't need. Find the smallest, lightest tool that works. And you got 2 pounds of metal around your dog's neck. Come on. So if you use a prong collar, you're watching this, just Google for me sometime this morning after you watch this, and how to properly fit a prong collar. You'll see something. You'll see a video. Then, now that you do that and you have the knowledge, now it's up to you to implement it. And that's where you're going to fail, because the proper fit is pretty snug, and you're going to feel bad. I don't want him to be hurt. I don't want him to not like me because I don't want him to be uncomfortable. You're going to feel bad. So even though now you have the knowledge, you're not actually going to do it. Even though it's safer and more effective for the dog, you're not going to do it because of your own emotions about it, even though you have the knowledge. And ultimately, that's the problem with so many people and their dogs, is implementation, lack of action. The knowledge is there. The knowledge is everywhere. The knowledge is free. Let's go. The knowledge is out there. All day, people scroll and read and see knowledge. You can Google it. You can watch it on YouTube. There's courses you can take that are dang near free from a lot of trainers. The knowledge is out there. So if the knowledge is out there and you've taken the time to seek that knowledge, what then is the only logical problem and thing standing in your way that you're not having the results you want with your dog? The only logical reason then is you have not properly implemented it. And that is a choice. That's a choice. That's not a, oh, well, I tried. It's a choice. The knowledge is there. You just haven't implemented it. Now, you may not fully know how to implement it, but that's a choice. You can seek more knowledge. You can seek now actual physical, in-person, live help to implement that knowledge. But no, either way, you're making a choice to not implement it. And that is why you still have the struggles with your dog that you have. There you go. I mean, that probably permeates throughout your entire life. Any problems you have, you've just chosen not to do something, not to take action, which then goes into discipline. And that I'll save for another morning. Have a good day, y'all. Good luck with your dogs.